Caitlin Clark is saving Stephanie White. She just is. You can be the biggest Stephanie White fan in the world, but like we have to say it like it is. Like Caitlin Clark is absolutely has saved Stephanie White's ass. Like nobody fires anyone mid-season, but the Indiana Fever have just blown. They blew a 17-point lead against the Mystics. They blew a 19-point lead against Chicago. 17 and 19 points. And again, if you want to go blame the players, this happens too often to blame the players. This was one of the notorious, like, if you guys don't know, once the Fever blew a double-digit lead after the first quarter, because I don't know, they might have had double-digit early leads and blew them. After the first quarter, they blew one double-digit lead in the entire season under Christie sides. Off the top of my head, the Indiana Fever blew double-digit leads against New York last year. They blew double-digit leads twice against the Valkyries. They blew double-digit leads against... They blew the Sparks multiple times. I'm pretty sure... Did they do it against the Jazz? Oh, sorry, no, they did it against the Wings because there is a... I need to find this. They blew one against the Dallas Wings, I think. Or maybe they pulled it off against the Dallas Wings. But I tweeted out a year ago. I need to find it here. But it is one of those things where it's like this right here. The Fever against the Wings. Dallas 21-3 run to end the third quarter. 21-3 run to end the third quarter, and they start the fourth quarter. Bree Turner and Dantas and Chloe Bibby on the floor. I think they might have won this game in the end because there was just heroics. There was just heroics everywhere. But this is a team that under Stephanie White, no lead is safe. Whereas when you were looking at Christie sides, it felt like it was annoying that they just kept letting teams back in the game, but they would always pull away. They regularly enough had a lead, let a team back in, and then pulled away. The problem is the Indiana Fever right now. They just lose all momentum. If Caitlin Clark doesn't hit a buzzer beater against the Mystics, and if Caitlin Clark doesn't take over this game, the Indiana Fever are 5-7 and have had the easiest start of any team this season. Like the Indiana Fever have made tough work against a tanking team and a team in crisis. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, and also, the Portland Fire have not won a game since they beat the Fever. They have not won a game. The Indiana Fever. How many times have the Indiana Fever had a double-digit lead this season and have given up the lead? Washington? Portland? Say no, Portland, Jesus. Washington, they were 8-2 up against Portland. So they did against Washington. They did it in the last two games. And they lost the game against Washington. So they have had double-digit leads that have turned into either overtime games or buzzer beaters. 3 times against against a team in crisis and a tanking team twice. I cannot stress enough how bad game management that is. This team's game management is horrendous. Stephanie White just being like, and by the way, the Mystics called a timeout. Or they called a reset. And Stephanie White just goes, well, the team didn't foul. They obviously forgot all the stuff we did in training camp about late game execution. Are you fucking kidding me? That's on you. You subbed off the one player who absolutely would in Caitlin Clark. If you wanted the team to foul, then afterwards you're like, oh, I actually wanted them to foul. Like, it's very easy. You subbed on Raven Johnson. If fouling up 3 is a specific thing, Raven Johnson should come in and call it. If you don't want to say foul, you should have. If it's such a big deal that they forgot it, there should be a name for it. and Raven Johnson should be the one making the call because she subs in. But no, you're throwing your team under the bus for late game execution when a lot of it is you. A lot of it is you. Again, Kelsey Mitchell going meep meep and running and breaking a layup up 5 with a minute to go for no reason instead of slowing it down. The team getting back into the game and getting a lead with Raven Johnson on the floor, and then Raven Johnson gets pulled and Kelsey Mitchell comes in and suddenly you lose the lead again. It's like Damiris Dantas coming into the game for no reason. Like, what has Damiris Dantas shown this year, other than being the worst player in the WNBA to get into the second half rotation over Maisha Allen? Fuck it, like, I don't care how bad Mo Billings has been. There's no scenario where Dantas should be the option. And why did we sign Grace Van Slooten? What was the point? You played Grace Van Slooten her first game, and she did okay in 2 minutes. You then played Grace Van Slooten in garbage time, and I can't remember what game it was, but she looked really good in garbage time in the game you played her. Again, it was garbage time. She hasn't seen the floor since. It's Chloe Bibby all over again. Chloe Bibby's averaging 10 points per game as a 10-day contract player, and Chloe Bibby goes and she comes on once against Dallas, and Dallas attack her 4 times in a row, and she gets 3 stops in those 4, and you're scared because, oh crap, she can be targeted. So then you don't play her ever again. She was in the rotation. She was in the fourth quarter rotation as you beat the Phoenix Mercury when the Phoenix Mercury were good. And then 3 weeks later, she's getting 0 minutes while Dantas is suddenly back as a key piece in the rotation. But Caitlin Clark, as you'll see here, this is what you call, I'm not letting our team lose. This is one of the best games of Caitlin Clark's career. Unpopular opinion, this is the best game Caitlin Clark has played in a win in her career. Because this was a team completely out of options. Like, you can see early on, everything Caitlin gets is either in transition or the pick and roll. And that's what you want Caitlin to be doing. But that's not the Steph system. They were blowing the lead. The Caitlin and Aaliyah pick and roll was stopping. And you see it right here. Aaliyah there sealing. Caitlin going downhill. Yeah, she didn't shoot the ball particularly well. But this is a player who throughout this whole game was like, I'm not letting us lose. Especially when the Chicago Sky started coming back in the game. You see here again, she hits the shot. Bully ball move to put them up 19. And then it's like she didn't do anything really in the offense as they all started coming back. Like, she's going downhill. Yeah, doesn't really matter. Cardoso's not doing anything. Make it a 17-point game. And she doesn't score again until the third quarter. Like, that is a crazy one. And she hardly does anything. Because, like, at this stage, when things start going really badly, Caitlin just started being like, fuck this. I'm getting us back in this game. From the passing, to the shooting, to the aggression, to the free throws. Especially in that third quarter from the free throw line, when they lost that lead. This was Caitlin just saying, no. I am, like, there's not, like, these highlights don't show her how many times she got to the basket. This is Caitlin saying, I'm okay with us losing this game because I am winning us this game. I'm not going down without a fight. And that's what I fucking love from a player. I love from a player that has that attitude. And look, we can be real. Kelsey Mitchell did the same thing last year. I don't think she's as good as it as Caitlin because she's not the passer. But Kelsey Mitchell put this team on her back plenty of times. She put this team on her back. So we're not going to pretend that Kelsey Mitchell didn't have some heroics last year. The difference is that Caitlin Clark was like Kelsey Mitchell right now just isn't as good at basketball as Caitlin Clark is. And the problem is that now you've got 2 players wanting to be the alpha of the team, and it's not necessarily going to work. But look, if Caitlin Clark single-handedly dragged the team back in, the Washington Mystics' first game that they played this year would have been, was Caitlin's greatest ever. Caitlin a 17.4 quarter. Caitlin Clark is individually dragging this team back into too many games. Like, could you imagine if they get blown out by double digits against the Washington Mystics in that early game? Could you imagine if they lose, if she misses that shot, or it goes to Kelsey and Kelsey puts up some bullshit against Washington? Could you imagine if she doesn't say, I'm not losing this game? and they lose last night. And this team is 5-7. And not only 5-7, 5-7 with 2 losses to a tanking team and 1 loss to a team that's completely dysfunctional. Like, all the blame will go to Caitlin Clark. We all know that. But the reality is that it's the opposite. Caitlin Clark is not out here ruining Stephanie White's coaching. Caitlin Clark is the only fucking reason why this team is not the Chicago Sky. And I say the only reason. But she's not. She's not. That's a massive exaggeration. Aaliyah's had some really good games. Kelsey Mitchell has had some good games. But let's be honest. In the 3 key games, the 3 key ones, which have been, whereas like or the last 2 ones, if you lose those 2 games and you're 5-7, your season's an absolute shit show. Now you're 7-5 and a half a game, is it 1 game? Yeah, you're 1 game behind the Dallas Wings, who are apparently having a brilliant year, and you're playing the Connecticut Sun in your next game. You now have a player in Caitlin Clark who is who basically has been the reason that you've not lost those 2 games in a row. And I'm sorry, you lose those 2 games, man. I think if this was the NBA and Steph White was the coach, you'd be fired mid-season. Anyway, I'll see you guys.